I'm Donna. Welcome to my kitchen. Tonight we are making Albondigas Soup, which is a Mexican soup made with meatballs. So it's a real treat if you haven't tried it. It's super simple. It's got a lot of the basic soup ingredients like celery, carrots, onions. I use that in chicken noodle soup. We'll use chicken broth. But first we're going to get started on the meatballs. So let me tell you the ingredients there. I have 1 pound of ground beef, and this is like a 90-10 split. You can use whatever you have. We're going to put 1 egg in there, some pepper, and my favorite, pretty much all season for Mexican food is this Hatch chili seasoning, cumin. I also have garlic salt, and a little bit of rice, and onion, and cilantro, and garlic. That's the ingredients for the meatballs. So we'll get started on that. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna actually put in, I have this is about 3/4, a little over half a cup of rice. That is gonna go in the meatball. We're gonna crack an egg in there. Okay. And then we're actually going to grate some garlic. So I just have 1 big clove of garlic here. I just gave it a whack with my knife to peel the skin off. And I want this pretty finely grated for our meatball. Let me move this out of the way here. I guess I can put this up here so you can see. Okay, I just have a standard little cheese grater here. And I'm gonna grate this right. If I can do it without chopping my fingers off. Okay, this makes it really fine. And it's really kind of not doing much, but it looks like it anyway. But it's all stuck inside, so. Okay, close enough without taking a finger off. So we're going to spoon that out of here. It's probably about a teaspoon of garlic. You could do a couple cloves if you wanted more, but we're also going to put it in the soup. We'll do a pinch of garlic salt, okay, and some pepper. This is the easy part. And some of this Hatch chili seasoning. Oregano is good in here if you have that. Let's see what else. Oh, cumin. Can't forget cumin. Okay, so this I'm just going to do probably a teaspoon of cumin. And then I've got about a half a cup of cilantro leaves here that I've already pulled from the stem, and we're just going to give this a chop. Sorry. And this is going to go in the meatball. This meatball is full of flavor. It's a lot different than, let's say, an Italian meatball. Obviously, this has Mexican flavors, but there's lots of good flavors that are going in here, and the cilantro will really give it a nice, deep flavor. Traditionally in Albondigas, I have seen the meatballs made with mint instead of cilantro. That's pretty traditional, but I didn't have any, and I don't really love mint, so we're going with cilantro. Okay. So we'll put that in there. Okay, then lastly in the meatball, we're going to put a little bit of onion. So I also want this pretty fine because I don't want big onion chunks in the meatball, but I do want the flavor. So I'm probably just going to use a 1/4. Let's just see how that gives us. We're going to grate that. This way you get all those juices also from the onion. Okay. Make sure we got all the goods out of there. There we go. Okay, so that's our meatball ingredients. And I'm just going to give this a mix with my hands. You got to get down in there. Break that yolk up and mix it as best you can. Make sure that egg gets all incorporated. The rice, oh, there's a nice big chunk of onion. We don't want that in the meatball. That might be quite a bite. Okay, oh, there's another one. Okay, I think we're getting pretty close. Okay, let me give my hands a wash and then we will start putting these meatballs together. Okay. Okay, now the meatballs will just be about 3/4 of an inch or so. They don't need to be huge. I've got a little scooper here. These are probably a little smaller than a golf ball, or I don't know. I'm not a golfer, so. Okay, so I'm gonna roll these meatballs and then we're gonna brown them a little bit in the pan, just to give them a brown, and then we'll pull them out and do the vegetables. So I'll get these all rolled up. Okay, our meatballs have been browning over here for about 5 to 7 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and pull those out. We don't want to fully cook them. They'll finish cooking in the soup. So let me grab my tray. I washed the tray. In case you're not familiar with cross-contamination, you never wanted to put cooked meat where you had raw meat. So I made sure it got washed, and we're just going to take these out. They're not perfect meatballs, but boy, do they smell good. They look good. You could probably use the pre-made frozen meatballs if you'd like, but it's not going to give you the same flavor. So if you do that, just make sure that you use lots of Mexican spices in the soup to offset what you're missing in the meatball. Okay. This 1 pound made about 30 meatballs. So that'll be pretty hearty in the soup. Almost done, almost done. I did put a little olive oil in the pan before starting to brown. And then of course the fat from the meat helps out. Okay. So let's get back to the vegetables for the soup then. I cut up the rest of the onion that we started, and then I've got 2 pretty good sized carrots here. I did pre-wash the vegetables. I do that with just a wet paper towel. Okay, kept some of these kind of big. I think I'm going to do them a little smaller. So we have carrots, onion, and celery going in here. I also have like 1/4 of a red bell pepper and a green bell pepper I'm just throwing in here because that's what I had. So you can put whatever veggies you like in here. Zucchini is also popular in here. So it's up to you, whatever you prefer. I've got 3 small stalks of celery that I'm dicing in here. And then I also, give that a little. I also have some small baby potatoes. This is what I had left. We're throwing that in. Again, when you're making soup, you can make it your own. You can add whatever you like in there that your family likes. Keep it hearty, keep it light, whatever you prefer. Sorry, these are kind of big. It was a pretty big carrot, so I'm trying to just give it a little bit of a smaller chop. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and throw these in to the pan over here so we can get them going. So, just using the same pan, it's already got oil and all the flavors from those meatballs in here, so that'll help give it really good flavor, okay? Okay, now for seasonings in here, of course I'm using garlic salt. Okay. Cumin. And this is where for sure I don't measure. And I'll probably add more as we go. Do what you like. My Hatch green chili seasoning. And then we're going to add a can of diced tomatoes. And also I had about half a jar of salsa here. Green salsa would be really good in here, so whatever you have, we'll add those. But I'm going to finish dicing up the potatoes and the bell peppers, and I'm also going to throw some garlic in here. Okay, I've added the rest of the vegetables, so we've got carrots, onions, celery, a little bell pepper, and also some of these potatoes. Not very many, it's just what I had left, so I've got everything cut up. Been sauteing just a few minutes. I just added a clove of garlic. We're going to add one more. Garlic you always kind of want to add last because you don't want it to burn. It gets really bitter when it burns. Okay, we'll give that a stir. Okay, the next we're going to go ahead and add our chicken broth. I have 12 cups. I don't know if we'll need all 12. We might need 8. So we'll put this in. And then we'll add in our salsa and tomatoes. And then once that all comes to a boil, we'll add in our meatballs to let them finish cooking in there. And then, of course, we'll season it more if we need to. We'll taste it as we go along. And I think we are going to need all of this. But we'll see. Okay. So we're going to let this come to a boil, and I'll add in the tomatoes and salsa. Okay, our soup came to a boil. I just started adding the meatballs, but I want you to see all this yummy goodness in here. All those vegetables. I added the can of diced tomatoes along with the juice, and then the jar of salsa I had, which has a ton of flavor in it, so that's why you want to wait to add more spices, because you want to use some of those flavors that are in that salsa. So I'm going to finish putting in the meatballs here. Just to recap what we've done with the meatballs, it was a pound of ground beef, some cilantro, about a half a cup of cooked white rice, garlic salt, cumin, onion, I think that's it, pepper. So we browned those and then browned our vegetables and put all the goodies in here. So I did have extra white rice. So I'm just going to throw it in the soup because no sense in wasting it. And rice is always good. So again, that rice is already cooked. Now, we've got all the meatballs in there. Everything's in there. So we're just going to let this simmer for probably at least 20 minutes until your vegetables are nice and tender. And then we can start adding more seasoning if we need to. So let's just let this roll for a little bit. And then we'll finish it off. Okay, our soup has been boiling over here for almost actually 30 minutes just because I got busy doing something else. So we are done and ready to serve this. I've tasted it. It's already seasoned perfectly. So everything I told you, that's the way it should go. Okay, so let's serve this up. Make sure we get a little of everything. We've got the potatoes, meatballs. Oh, yum. Maybe one more meatball. Okay, 2. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is Albondigas soup. We're going to squeeze a little bit of lime juice in there. Squeeze a lime to put the juice in there. And some cilantro. Because everything's better with cilantro in my opinion. Okay. I think we're good. Here we go. This is our Albondigas soup. Meatballs in Spanish. That's what albondigas is. So let's eat.